Built for them, for what comes next. The Canadian Premier League, Canada's league, Canada's game.
Vancouver, British Columbia. It's where the Canadian men's national team had a training session open to the media today, and it's where we will soon join Christian Jack on today's episode of Bet365 for the win. It's a beautiful home for the beautiful game. Gareth Wheeler back on the program today, along with Amy Walsh and Adam Jenkins, as we get near the end of another match day at the FIFA World Cup. And barring some kind of stoppage time winner, it looks like our first three matches will all have ended in a draw. But the one that was the most surprising, Spain, so many people's favorites to win this tournament before a ball was kicked. They were held scoreless to Cabo Verde, a 0-0 draw in Group H in Atlanta. Look at some of the stats here. 66% possession for the Spanish. The shot attempts 27-6. Completed defensive line breaks. I love the advanced FIFA stats. 28-1 in favor of Spain, Gareth Wheeler, and yet no goals scored. How shocked are you by this result?
I don't even know what that stuff means that you're just talking about. I'm very, very surprised that it ended in a draw, but Spain wasn't my favorite, one of my favorites to win the World Cup. I know that sounds crazy, but I just look at a Spain side with significant question marks coming in about their two most talented attacking players from wide areas, in Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams. These two are difference makers. They've done it in the past for both club and country, and without them, the attack is a little bit stagnant. How you beat and break down a very stubborn back line in Cape Verde were excellent from a defensive perspective. Their organization, their commitment, playing one another, top marks to them, and this is their day. But I just look at Spain, like you mentioned, a team that a lot of people thought, are among the favorites to go on and win this tournament. Without those two players dribbling and taking on players, then you kind of get the result that they kind of ended up with today, with a lot of possession, a lot of shots, not a lot of really great chances created, and an opening match draw. We've seen this over the course of previous tournaments, like Argentina losing to Saudi Arabia in the last World Cup. These first games are difficult for some of the big dogs. And if you play a very well-organized team, it's really hard to blow out your opponent. Germany, Curacao was the exception and not the rule here. So look, I'm not sure that this will change the way that many feel about Spain in this tournament. I might have to reassess the markets after this one and see how they adjust to this. But Spain are still going to be very good, but this is Cape Verde's day. And with three teams qualifying for the World Cup, Amy, I mean, there's no real jeopardy for either team. It just gives Cape Verde life in a group that they're really now going to be right in the mix of things.
Oh my goodness. I was thrilled for Cabo Verde. I mean, this is the thing. I thought, to your point, I thought Spain was going to roll. They're not my pick to win the tournament, but they were, they're up there with the teams that you expect to kind of run the show, especially versus a minnow like Cabo Verde. And they just did their utmost to just stop them, to put spokes in their wheels at every turn. And it was unfettered joy, right? It was industry personified. It was a defensive and goalkeeper masterclass where they defended for their lives, and they did so for the duration of the match. And this is one match here where I was fully behind them, and I was fully for the hydration breaks because it gave Cabo Verde time to regroup, to get some of that. It's the one time, Wheels, that I'm for the hydration breaks because it fueled Cabo Verde on their way to a precious point on the day. But the goalkeeper, who's playing second tier in Portugal, Vazina, was outstanding. His mom couldn't be here. This is the subtext. It's kind of the underpinning of this tournament. His mom couldn't get a visa, so his mom was not present. So you feel sad for the guy, but you can I think he brought joy to everybody today. But I mean, he was the reason why they succeeded. It was a whole team in front of him, but some of the saves that he came up with, he only started playing pro at 25. Like, it's just an incredible, incredible story. And long may it continue. It might be a one-off, though, is what I'm worried about, is they gave so much today against Spain, who won Europe only 2 years ago. Like, it's so improbable, but it's such a great story early on in this World Cup.
And with 48 teams in this World Cup, Adam, like, romantic stories like this are just going to come about. A draw for Cape Verde, a goal for Curacao. Like, it's just all how you interpret these feel-good stories and what constitutes a win. But absolutely, I mean, it's their day, it's their moment. And this is going to be a famous night in Cape Verde football history.
Absolutely. And now with Saudi Arabia and Uruguay officially at a 1-1 draw, Group H is the exact same as Canada's group. Everyone has played a match. Everyone has scored one. Everyone has conceded one. And it's basically a brand new round in match day number 2. Let's head to Vancouver now, powered by General Mills. He is our steward on the seawall today, Christian Jack, joining Bet365 for the win. KJ, a pleasure as always to welcome you to the program. I know you had the opportunity to attend Canada training today, and I'm sure there were many players you guys were keenly aware of how much they were participating, what the different units looked like. Not that Jesse Marsh was going to show you too much in those 15 minutes, but I digress. Let's start with Jonathan David, one of the players to watch and certainly players to discuss ahead of the match against Qatar after he was subbed out in the 61st minute. What's the latest?
Yeah, that's right. We joined Canada at training this morning here, and obviously 2 days without availability. It was interesting to see what would be new and what would develop out of the training today at the UBC, Vancouver Whitecaps training facility for Canada that they're taking over here, at least for the group stage, and certainly one that they hope to take over as well for the knockout stage. More of that later, whether Canada can win this group. But you alluded to it. We're getting a lot of firsts in this World Cup, and I have to say one of the things I did not expect to be talking about during this World Cup was whether Jonathan David should be starting the next match. There's some of the questions that are actually being asked right now by some members of the Canadian media, and some people are questioning whether Jonathan David's starting spot is in jeopardy ahead of their game on Thursday here against Qatar. You have to remember this: Jonathan David, no goals in 12 games internationally from open play. Did get the 2 goals in March from the penalty spot against Iceland. His touches in the box average are down dramatically in the last 10 matches compared to the ones prior to that. And also, Jesse Marsh removed him in that game after 62 minutes, the earliest he's ever been removed with Canada down by 1 goal in his career. It's over 78 caps. However, it is Jonathan David, and he is the record goal scorer for this team for a reason. But when we asked the players today who were made available about it, you could tell that they were very much in his camp.
Yeah, about Jonathan and his quality, I don't think we need to talk. We all know what he's capable of, how intelligent he is, and he's come up big for us countless times when his back's been against the wall and him scoring. So we know what Jonathan's about. We know he's going to come for us in these next games.
100%. He's done it in the past before, and he's going to continue to do it. We have no reason to doubt him, and he's obviously even keel. He's cool. He's collected, and we have all the confidence in the world in him to score goals.
It's Jonathan David, man. I don't think anybody's thinking twice or about him, performing and scoring goals. You know what he's done for us. It's one game. I'm sure he's gonna, he'll find the back of the net one way or another. And you can see he's the same. He's not. You can tell he's not seeing any. You don't see any effects of it. And yeah, probably the best striker I've played with. Probably the best striker I've played with. Yeah, he's complete. He's a good player, smart player. Can finish the ball. Can play football well.
Jonathan David, 39 goals in 78 caps. You don't have to be a fantastic mathematician to work out the numbers. 1 goal every 2 international games. However, that is the lowest ratio he has ever had in his career. And if he doesn't score this week against Qatar, suddenly that drops to more than 1 goal every 2 games. So the first time in his career. So something to keep an eye on. But we've been here before, Copa America, when he was in a little bit of a slump. And then, of course, he got the big winner against Peru in that second half. So Amy, Gareth, obviously this is a player that many people know that you don't have to worry about with Canada, but we're in a World Cup and everything right now is a story.
And when Canada doesn't have a true talisman, David can't just be content to play provider to facilitate the play. We know all the work he does out of possession. It's not enough to just knit together the midfield and the front line. He needs to bag goals. We saw Kyle Larin do it, a player that he's dueled with the top goal scoring for the men's national team program. But when you distill it down, Wheels, you need your best striker to score. And currently, he's not doing that.
Yeah, he didn't look like himself in the game on Friday. That was the issue. Like, his touch on the ball was a little bit heavy. Obviously, the really good chance where he could have made it 1-0 for Canada in the 17th minute. But I'm going to buy track record here. And I'm going to just still buy the fact that Jonathan David is the best of the bunch that Canada has. KJ, you said the stat, like, no goals from open play in 12, but Kyle Larin has 1. Taniel O'Shea doesn't have 1, and Promise David's still not fully fit, returning from injury. It's not whether to replace Jonathan David. It's about how to get him going. And I think the biggest thing, he needs touches inside the area. He needs to get the ball in places where he can be dangerous. And for me, that is up to the wide players. Tajon Buchanan and Liam Miller and the complementary players around him. If you get the ball in dangerous places, we know what Jonathan David can do. I'm going to just chalk off the early chance to just a bad moment for Jonathan David. But if this team's going to have any level of success here at this World Cup, Jonathan David's going to be front and center. He has to be starting. I just can't believe that just after a couple of poor performances, that this is the conversation that's being had. Like, I'm absolutely shocked that this is the conversation that's being had right now.
I'm absolutely shocked, KJ, that we have 2 groups now where all 8 teams have a goal scored, conceded, and a point. How are Canada feeling about this series of ones that face them in Group B?
Well, remember this, prior to the 2026 FIFA Men's World Cup, has only ever happened twice before, where 2 games have started the group with 1-1. Once back in 1990, the big famous group between England, the Dutch, the Irish, and the Egyptians. And then in 2010, you remember that group with Italy, Slovakia, Paraguay were in that group with New Zealand as well. And those games, bred draws. Ultimately, they kept going and kept having more draws in those groups. We just saw another game end 1-1. So what is that now, the count? 10 games out of 15 where we've had 2 goals or less. So there's a lot of rust right now. There's not a lot of open play apart from when you watch the Swedes or the Germans. And I think that speaks a lot also to the fact that opening games of this World Cup are very tense because they know that if they can get a draw, suddenly they're in good positions, knowing you can finish third and advance in a group. It no longer is advantageous to open it up. So there's a lot of talk right now about the World Cup and whether there's more attacking play or less of it because of the new format. And also from coast to coast, everybody talking about what does it mean for Canada. We talked about it over the last few shows. Remember the importance of Switzerland not losing that game before Canada, just to eliminate that 4-4, 4-4, where you could get beat on 4 points. But we talked to the players again today, and obviously Nico Segur, Joel Waterman, and Ali Ahmed, you could tell within their own camp, they're working things out as well.
I think we can look at it as if we're all on even points with 2 games to left, as if the first game, it's the same goal differential. We want to go and win. That's it. If we win, we put ourselves in a good position. We have to take it game by game. So yeah, let's get these 3 points, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, it's wide open. Same as before. We want to top the group. The focus has never changed for us. So obviously it's a big game on Thursday to beat Qatar, and then we got to try and beat Switzerland as well. We're going to try and pick up the 6 points and go into the next round.
1 game at a time. We're really studying Qatar and just trying to take it. We're not looking too far ahead, but it's hard not to, obviously. But 1 game at a time. I think to bounce back and use some momentum that we had from the second half of Bosnia. Just go in and try and replicate that second half against Qatar and get 3 points there, and then we can start talking and looking about whatever amount of points we need to try and top the group so we can stay in Vancouver.
In order to simplify it, just win. This is the name of the show. For the win. Get 3 points and everything else should work it out. Ultimately, Canada will be very unlucky to get to 4 points and not advance through this group. The scenario remains that could happen if Bosnia beats Switzerland. And obviously, the key now for Canada is to make sure that doesn't happen. And why is that important? If Canada are to just win against Qatar here on Thursday and the Swiss don't lose that game, then we can all say after that, even though it won't be official, that Canada will be in that knockout stage, which is so vital to be able to do after 2 games. Remember, when we're in Qatar, after 2 games, Canada were the first team eliminated from the World Cup.
Gareth, how are you feeling about this potential 4-4-4 scenario? And is it really just as simple as go out and win?
Yes, of course. You're playing at home against Qatar next game. You're playing at home in Vancouver against Switzerland in the last game. Canada is in a position where they're right where they need to be right now. The only change is that Switzerland, by virtue of not winning their last game, can't go on and clinch top spot in the group through 2 games after the 1-1 result with Canada and Bosnia before. So there's going to be no rest or rotation there for Switzerland. Other than that, nothing really changes for this group. And now I think Canada needs to go about, yes, focused on Qatar, a game that they should win. But it's really interesting when you see KJ speaking with certain players today. Now, certain players that are made available to the media, sometimes it means nothing, sometimes it means something. I just wonder if there's a way that Ali Ahmed is available to start next game, which I think would be progress for Canada. I think he's an irreplaceable team a player in the starting 11 that if he was fully fit, he would have been starting last week in that opener in Toronto Stadium. And Joel Waterman's an interesting one as well. Like, don't sleep on Joel, especially in a game where Canada, if against Qatar, they're going to be on the ball even a little bit more. He's really good on possession. He's really good in distribution. And if you want to preserve or maintain Luc de Fougerolles and some of the players that may be on a card, then this is the way to do it. So I found that interesting that Ahmed and Waterman spoke to the team today. But yeah, go on and beat Qatar. None of that other stuff bothers me at this point. Pick up as many points as possible, and they should be on 4 points by this time next week, going into a game where they have the ability to go on and win the group. And Ali Ahmed said it, staying in Vancouver, that is the priority, not only for potentially 1 knockout game, but 2 knockout games. And Canada, it's within their own hands. They control their own destiny right now, and that's all you can ask for in a tournament like this.
Yeah, there's a bunch of what you said there, Wheels, that I like, but I think we can't forget that Canada getting something out of that Bosnia match meant that they got a historic first point, and they were able to do that at home. So you build on that, you don't discount it. I think that's marred a little bit by Qatar getting that draw at the death versus the Swiss. But as Joel said, the goal was always to win. This match coming up next was always the match they needed to win. And something that Ali Ahmed said, they need to replicate that second half performance. So do they do that via perhaps the man himself stepping into that starting 11, or to your other point, Wheels, about the yellow cards with Luc de Fougerolles and Alistair being on yellows, does Nico Segur get some valuable minutes to keep him fresh as you project forward in the tournament?
Well, KJ, as Gareth just touched on some potential changes, but really it depends on how Jesse Marsch views the players in their individual duels, in their fitness, most importantly. What sort of injury update can you provide the viewers tonight?
Well, just to mention something to follow up on what Gareth was talking about there, you know, this is a FIFA Men's World Cup. We got to cover it in Toronto, and there's a lot of Vancouver news media covering it here. When you think about the players that were made available today, Nico Segur, obviously from Burnaby, we've told that story. Ball boy at BC Place for Canada against when they played in 2019. In the soccer media and the people watching, there's a lot of those stories already known, but those stories are now being told on different news networks across BC. That's why Ali Ahmed spoke, because as a former Whitecaps player, obviously Aldergrove BC's own Joel Waterman as well. So those were the 3 players made available to us mainly for that reason. But also, you know, it's on us to find other stories within this as well. Ali Ahmed is very an interesting case, because if he hadn't have got a hamstring injury for Norwich on the last day of the championship season against Liam Miller's Hull City, by the way, his replacement, Ali Ahmed would have played last week. He would have been starting that game with Marcelo Flores being injured, undoubtedly. It was somebody that Jesse Marsch told me last year was my best pressing player and my #1 player to play on the left wing. In the time from the Copa America, when he made his big debut there as a starter against Uruguay, all the way to last year's fall internationals, he started 15 of 19 games. Ali Ahmed in that position, and he only really lost his position when he got sent off and then got injured. So interesting to see whether if he comes back in. And we talked to Ali today about his health update after playing 30 minutes on Friday.
Yeah, when I came on, I just wanted to bring a little energy, and I think just be confident and honestly not overthink things. Just play like another game, and I'll have another day and time to really reflect about these games. I don't want to get too caught up in the moment. Of course, it's special, but just honestly just came on and try to treat it like another game, and bring energy to the team. And I felt like the guys on Bosnia were getting tired, and I was fresh legs, so like I said, just wanted to bring some energy to kill them.
Could you start?
Yeah, I'm healthy. I think that 30 minutes was really important for me. I think it felt like a long time since I got a run like that. So I think even that first 30, I think I was a little not in my sharpest in terms of fitness. But now I think with that, I think I'm good to go now.
So that's great news. Another piece of really good, important news. Ali Ahmed, remember this, if he believes he can go from the start, traditionally, when he does start for Canada, he averages around about 65 to 70 minutes, gets his energy out and pressing, and then they bring on a replacement. So what are we? Less than 72 hours away. If we were to play head coach right now, I'd have my vote. I definitely would play him. I think he needs to start, and I think he would start with Tajon Buchanan on the other flank as well. I don't know what you think, Amy, but I think he's probably done enough just to take over from Liam, as he did a little bit at the Copa America.
Yeah, I agree. I think if there's a change, it will be Ali Ahmed, but on that left wing. We know when he first started with Canada, he was mostly Tajon's backup, but he's done enough, all of the stats that you underline, KJ, to show that he is the guy in that left wing. And then maybe perhaps until Alphonso Davies is healthy enough to come back, but I really don't think that he would displace Ali Ahmed. And he's in an interesting profile and provides something that a more direct and vertical Schaffelberg does not. I mean, even though he's cut in the mold and very much the player for this system under Jesse Marsch, I think Ali Ahmed almost gives you a hybrid between a Schaff and a Marcelo Flores, and it has that on offer. And so what he said and what I mentioned earlier is replicate that second half performance. This team had the tempo, they had the speed of play, and they were able to get into those central channels. We saw how that goal was devised, and they need to do more of that versus Qatar.
There's no player that embodies what Jesse Marsch wants more than Ali Ahmed for me, because that ability to press, like KJ alluded to, that's everything. You know, press, force the ball to be given away or turned over, loss of possession, and then go and attack. And he can play direct. He's awkward to deal with. I mean, we discussed this in the build-up to the World Cup. He did more than enough to lock down a starting spot. And I think the best version of this Canada side has him in the starting 11. And I really like how Jesse Marsch used him for those 65, 70 minutes, then went on and bring a different type of player. The thing is, if Ali Ahmed is available in that way, I think Schaffelberg might be the preferred player to come in to replace him in games like that, opposed to a Liam Miller. I thought that Liam is very active. He's obviously a quality player, but his distribution, his productivity in the final third, for me, isn't quite there. It's not quite at the level that Canada requires or needs right now. So Ahmed getting into this team and getting healthy enough to at least contend to start, it's essential for this Canadian team in order to progress and see the best version of this team.
And KJ, is there anything you can add on Moise Bombito's status?
Yeah, just a quick one from training. Obviously, you would have seen all across our socials this morning, we reported Alphonso Davies remains in return to play protocol. What we saw of it, not really doing a lot of ball work with teammates, a lot of individual work, but in his boots. Moise Bombito, one of the earliest players I saw out there, already going through a lot of that physicality training that he needed to do, working on different things with the physios as well. So really positive to see, and in full training for the second straight day. His first full training was match day -1 prior to the game against Bosnia. We were told then he was made available. He would be available if possible. Seems like he's now possibly available for this game as well. And just one thing to keep in mind, again, we all want this. If Canada are leading late in the game, often Jesse Marsch likes to refer to that back three and put on another player there. So maybe it's an opportunity, if Bombito can't start, that he can come on and hold Canada's lead for 10 or 15 minutes near the end here in Vancouver on Thursday, Adam.
Well, KJ, we've had so much negative injury news in the lead up to the World Cup. Every bit of positive news is certainly welcome. We thank you for joining us, KJ, live on location for One Soccer, powered by General Mills. And with that, we'll take a quick pause of our own. When we return, the Canadian Premier League might be on a World Cup hiatus, but that doesn't mean we're not going to ask Kyle Bekker for his thoughts on the World Cup thus far. So that's next when we return to Bet365 for the win.
For the Win on One Soccer is presented by Bet365.
We were there for your first game together. The day you taught him the rules and the answer for every question. We've been there for the good times and a few moments we don't talk about. And now,
who won the most Canadian Classics?
It's a passion you can share. And we're just happy we could be there. 20 years, and we're still growing. Together.
In Canada, our future stars don't simply show up on the world stage. They are built from the ground up, right here in the heart of our communities.
Oh, lovely through ball there, Isaiah Johnson! Goal for Halifax!
From a childhood dream to the national team.
Jacob Schaffelberg! Yes! He's done it! Canada! On top of the footballing world!
We are Canada, driven by Volkswagen.
Canada are really pressing here. Oh, what a move! That is a quality ball! Now the run into the box!
For the Win on One Soccer is brought to you by Samsung.
One of three matches in the books for Canada at the 2026 World Cup. Of course, that 1-1 draw to open the tournament in Toronto. The Reds, Les Rouges, they are on the Lower Mainland now in Vancouver as they prepare for Qatar and the Swiss. First match coming up Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Pleased to welcome to the program a man with 18 proud caps for his country and multiple Canadian Premier League titles under his belt. It is the one and only Kyle Bekker, the Forge skipper and pundit for the day. Kyle, great to see you. We're going to start with the topic that we have been volleying around the office ourselves. Canada won, Bosnia and Herzegovina won. Canada did not lose, but factually, Canada also did not win the World Cup opener like the other co-host did. I'm wondering, now that you've had a couple of days to think about it, is this a good result for Canada to start the tournament with a draw?
Yeah, I think it's a positive result, especially the way the second half went. I think the boys felt themselves into the game, and as things went on and they really started to get a little bit more comfortable, I think the nerves got out of the system and guys started to showcase what they're all about. Obviously, anytime you have substitutions like that come on and make such an impact right away, it's huge. It's positive for the group. Coach feels good. Everyone's feeling great. And I think the important thing is we got it out the way and we got a result. I mean, obviously, everyone was talking about all of the stuff, all of the different options, how it was going to play out. Obviously, getting the win, you want to get that win on home soil. But I think the biggest thing was to just get out the way, get a result, don't lose, and keep going. And I think the positives we can take from the match are a handful, and guys can start to grow. I think they get the nerves out, as I've said, and you keep rolling now.
Gareth, does your opinion of the result change with the Qatar Swiss? We haven't got your take on that quite yet, but are you team good result as well?
I think it's still a disappointing result. I just have a hard time getting past the way that Canada played that game and what could have been in that match. It was almost as though everyone in the team was hoping to create something, or something would be created rather than being able to go out and create it themselves. So that's the area that needs some work. I think it's still a work in progress. I watched just other teams in this tournament. I think that their structure maybe stands out a little bit more just in terms of the attacking process. But look, with every team on 1 point here, nothing really changes other than the fact that Switzerland aren't going to be resting and rotating for that last game because it's going to mean something. That's the biggest knock-on effect of both matches ending up in a draw in this group, that Switzerland doesn't have the luxury to rotate, but it doesn't change anything. You go in this next game, Canada should expect to win and should expect to grow from that performance. Maybe a couple guys get a little bit more match fit. as we mentioned, Ali Ahmed seems to be a prime candidate for that. He makes the team better. So it's not a bad result per se. I just think that they just weren't rewarded for inevitably the type of performance they put in against, for me, just an average side.
Kyle, one of the most important faces for Canada for many years now, but certainly coming into this tournament with so many injuries across the back line, is a guy you know well and have played with for many years, and that's Richie Laryea. I'm curious, as you sort of paralleled his career and watched him really become a mainstay in this Canadian national team, did you ever think you would be in the stands cheering him on at a World Cup?
No, I just think that's sort of like the nature of a lot of Canadian players and a lot of Canadian fans for the last couple of decades. The fact that we're hosting a World Cup is so surreal. How much the game has grown in our country has been special. It's crazy to be a part of. And Richie's just a byproduct of that. I mean, you can look at the start of his career. He was on the bench in the stands for the first 4 years of his career in Orlando, begging to get a game. Couldn't get any minutes here or there. Ends up being one of those guys who goes into Toronto, almost a final attempt to see what can happen. He ends up playing a different position and makes the most out of it. But that's his versatility. I think it speaks to his tactical awareness, the type of player he is. He's so bought into the team. He's bought into collective. He wants to go out, compete, and win. And he just wanted to be on the field, given an opportunity, and he took it. I mean, I think growing up, there is no chance I would ever said that he was going to be thriving at right back. Just because I'm a believer, I think he could still go into the middle and do a job, especially in this group too, with the weapons we have. I think you could put him into the middle, give Alfonso a little bit more support, allow him to go forward and not be so worried about what's going to be happening left exposed in the back because you have a guy like that playing behind him. So it's been fantastic to see. I mean, a kid from Sigma, what he's been about, how his career has gone, to take this chance to be playing in a World Cup at home. The second one it's insane.
Amy, you know the importance of having those types of teammates, and now as a pundit, those day in, day out pros where you can throw them just about anywhere and you know they're going to put in a shift. I'm curious how you have seen Richie Laryea. He was one of those guys where we're wondering, is he fully match fit? How much can he give? And then you see the match against Boz and you're like, no, this guy, if he's not at 100%, he looks it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking. Go ahead, Kyle.
No, I was going to say, I'm sure some people in Toronto are probably kicking themselves, where have you been? But obviously there was some discussions that allowed him to take the time he needed to get match fit for this World Cup, knowing that there was something bigger at play, I'd say.
Yeah, I was going to just say that I think he was Canada's best player in 2025 when you had the likes of Alfonso Davies missing. And then we know the litany of injuries that this team and like the hand that they've been dealt with guys being unfit, but they've been able to rely on Richie. And I would even like to think that with a fully fit team, with Jesse Marsh having, a wealth of talent at his disposal to choose from, everybody available, I think that Richie Laryea would really give him a headache. Like, I think he'd have to maybe move some guys around in order to keep Richie as part of that starting 11. Like, are you of the same mind, Kyle, that if everybody was fully fit, Richie's got to be in that 11?
Yeah, I think there's no questions. His name has to be on the team sheet. I know there's been some times he's come off the bench. They've gone with Alistair on the right when he's kind of filled in for Fonzie on the left, and Fonzie coming back. You put Richie on the bench and hope that he can be that spark coming off. And that is one way to look at it, but I think the job that he's done, the consistency he's brought to the table, the performance he's put in week out for Toronto, and then every single time he puts on the Canada shirt, I think it would be a disservice to leave him on the bench for sure.
Okay, we love a debate on Bet365 for the win, and Gareth Wheeler, I know he's licking his lips ready to dive into this one, but the first question goes to you, Kyle Bekker, as a man who understands what it takes to play in a very successful midfield. The question for you is, which nation right now in world football fields the best midfield?
So my answer off the top of my head, without seeing every single team play yet, obviously I'm eagerly waiting to see what Portugal does. I think those two that they have at PSG are fantastic, and I think they're cut above everyone else. But for me right now, it's the Netherlands. I think those three, De Jong, Reinders, and Gravenberch, as they go, I think they can really find a form and be a problem. Obviously, I think they are going to struggle scoring goals in this tournament. That's a different conversation. But if we're looking at that midfield three, I think those three possess absolutely everything you want in a midfield trio. And when you got a guy like Frankie De Jong pulling the strings, the other two can cover so much ground, and they have the creativity to get forward. So I think they're a special three to watch.
Gareth Wheeler.
It's Portugal. Portugal's the definitive answer. It's not just the PSG duo. It's Bruno Fernandes playing in front of them. I mean, there's balance, there's legs, there's quality. They are one, but the Netherlands would be in my top 5, Kyle, so I have no problem with that. I think the German midfield is very, very good as well, to the point where they play Joshua Kimmich at right back in this tournament. Like, he could start basically for any team in the world at central midfield. He's that good. But Pavlovic is excellent. Musiala has returned form, playing a little bit in front of them. He's excellent as well. And we got to say England. England is definitely a top 3 midfield for me, with Declan Rice and the season that he had. Elliot Anderson has grown by leaps and bounds. There's balance. There's different profiles that they can bring in, whether it's Jude Bellingham playing in front of them or Morgan Rogers. I mean, that midfield 3, the way that shapes out, has to be considered one of the best in the world as well.
Amy Walsh.
Yeah, I'm wondering why Wheeler, he's got the wheelhouse behind him, so he's clearly in his wheelhouse, why he's choosing 2 teams and screwing me as the person going last, because I also had England. But because I love Declan Rice. He's one of my favorite players. I was a midfielder as well, and not nearly as skilled as he is, but what we do have in common is his ability to break up play. He initiates those press triggers, knits everybody together, and can drive them forward. And I think the addition of Anderson, as Wheels mentioned there, allows Declan Rice to play that more advanced role, which I think Tuchel was always looking for. But I think you got to give a shout to France as well. And I know I vilified Wheels for throwing out 2, but I'm going to do the same. So I think that they don't prioritize that elegant play, and they maybe are missing that classic playmaker, but they prioritize the devastation. And I respect that. And you've got so much strength and potency across that front line that you need a little bit of that balance, and that's what France has in the middle of the park.
N'Golo Kante. Okay. I mean, he just covers so much ground. I mean, when France has been successful in the past, like, he oftentimes can carry some of the midfielders he's playing with. Now, Chouameni's in the midfield with him. It's a really good balance there between them. I'm surprised that Rabiot still makes the starting 11 more times than not. But man, like, N'Golo Kante, like Kyle Becker's the N'Golo Kante of the CPL, aren't you, pal?
I was just going to say Richie Larea is our Joshua Kimmich before this.
Keep things moving over. That's what you do,
man. Crazier one. Yeah. I think as we were hyping up Germany and Joshua Kimmich, I think that's Richie is the Canadian version of that, his ability to play in both roles. But Wheels, I think you outdone me with that one, man. I don't know. There's no chance I could take that comparison. But I don't think I've won enough tackles in my 15 years that he's done in a game. So, yeah.
That might be true.
I have a question for Kyle, just if I can get in, Jenko. It's kind of famed now, or maybe infamous, that Richie said he's never gotten a red card. We know he hasn't gotten a red card or been sent off in a Canada kit, but you've known him for so long. Did it ever happen when you guys were playing together?
Oh, 100% this guy was getting sent off in a Sigma game for sure. We might have had a competition to see who could get in more trouble when we were younger. I was a little bit of a hothead, which is probably no surprise to a lot of people, but I think I've calmed down in my old age. But yeah, Richie, I think he's getting away with murder. I like him towing that line just because he brings that competitive edge, gets everyone fired up, clearly gets under the skin of everyone else. He's a madman to play against, blinding everyone.
Kyle Bekker, a player we have loved to watch on the pitch, and a player we are learning to love as a pundit as well. Special contributor to Bet365 for the win. Kyle Bekker, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you and talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kyle.
We will see Kyle Becker's Forge in action in the TELUS Canadian Championship quarterfinals. The quarterfinal round getting underway July the 8th on One Soccer. They will play CS Saint Laurent. On that day, CF Montreal away to Vancouver and Cavalry away to the Whitecaps at a World Cup venue. Or perhaps not. We'll have to confirm that one. I imagine it's not. Okay, with that, let's take a break. Time for you to grab your cravats, your ascots, your bow ties, your bolos, because that's what we're talking about after the break. Ties! 3 of them so far on this Monday at the World Cup is For the Win by Bet365 continues.
For the Win on One Soccer is brought to you by General Mills. For the Win on One Soccer is brought to you by Turkey Farmers of Canada.
In Canada, our future stars don't simply show up on the world stage. They are built from the ground up, right here in the heart of our communities.
Oh, lovely through ball there, Isaiah Johnson! Goal for Halifax!
From a childhood dream to the national team.
Jacob Schaffelberg! Yes! He's done it! Canada on top of the footballing world!
We are Canada, driven by Volkswagen.
And for Canada, BMO.
After 20 years of supporting the game, we're actually going to play in one. Let's go! So what do you need? Precision striker, rock solid left back?
We need a coin.
For the coin toss? Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I got it. Can I at least flip it? Heads or tails? I'll do that. We're on TV right now. Yeah.
Hey neighbor, meet Walmart Plus, the new membership that does delivery differently. I'm talking unlimited free same-day delivery, free shipping, and no order minimum. And it comes with a Crave subscription too. Yeah, it's like a 2-for-1. Try it free for 30 days. Walmart Plus.
For the Win on One Soccer is presented by bet365.
Well, before we get into Monday's action, the newsiest item of the World Cup before a ball was kicked this morning was the aftermath of Sweden-Tunisia. The Swedes started scoring early and they continued to score often, ultimately winning the match by 5-1 over Tunisia. Such a disappointment, such a catastrophe for the Tunisian that Sabri Lamouchi, the head coach, was relieved of his duties, according to reports. One match into the World Cup, it cannot get any worse than that. Sweden on the other side, of course, flying high with a +4 goal differential as they rightfully and understandably lead Group F. Japan and the Dutch, they both have a draw to their name. They played to 2-2 affair yesterday, so it's Sweden ahead by 2 from the Asian and European sides. Tunisia at the bottom. Today, Belgium and Egypt were in action. They played at Seattle Stadium, and it was the Egyptians who would get on the board first through Imam Ashur in the 19th minute. They would lead the game until Romelu Lukaku entered the match, and I believe it was no more than 15 seconds after he stepped onto the pitch. He was involved in forcing an own goal last off of Mo Ani in the 66th. Those teams would continue to trade blows the rest of the way, but neither would be able to find a winner, which was a theme of the day. Belgium won, Egypt won at full time. We would also have seen Iran and New Zealand, we will see them later on today. They're playing at Los Angeles Stadium, and a winner from either of those two nations, the Islamic Republic of Iran or New Zealand, would see them go atop of Group G, Group H, Uruguay and Saudi Arabia. It took a second half goal for the South Americans through Maxi Araujo in the 80th minute. It was certainly a scare up until that point, as many were wondering if Saudi Arabia could pull up an upset again 4 years after their big one in Qatar. And then Cape Verde and Spain, as mentioned earlier in the program, also settling for a 1-1 draw to make Group H's table identical to Group B's. And with that, let's bring in Oliver Platt, live from Toronto Stadium, once again powered by General Mills. We're over halfway now, Ollie. That's an exciting thing because we're starting to really get a sense of who's fit, who's available, and who's in form. Lots to chew here, lots of meat on this bone. So I go carte blanche to you, my friend. Early impressions through this first week of the FIFA World Cup.
Good evening, Adam. Great to be with you. I'll give you Platt's most interesting team of the tournament so far, which surprisingly doesn't have a sponsor yet. But it's Morocco. I think they're fascinating. I think they're fascinating for a couple of reasons. Number one is that this so far has been the World Cup of the dual national, the diaspora World Cup, if you like. From the very first goal scored by Julian Quinones, born in Colombia, plays for Mexico. And I don't think anyone represents that more than Morocco. At one point in that 1-1 draw against Brazil, they had all 11 players on the field who were born outside of Morocco. And they're really starting to recruit some players that you might think would take their time or have other options. They did it obviously several years ago now with Achraf Hakimi, who could have played for Spain. But now they've done it with 18-year-old Ayoub Bouhaddi, who looks like an absolute superstar in the making. He'd captained France's under-21 sides at 18, was playing in Ligue 1, looked like a surefire future French international, and he's decided to play for Morocco. I think that's a pretty seismic decision in terms of how maybe this generation of players are thinking about these types of things. The second reason is I just think they're really good. Like, I don't know if they're quite a contender at this competition yet, but I don't think they're far away, and there's been so many false dawns over the years for African sides that before Morocco went to the semi-finals in 2022, there'd only ever been 3 African quarter-finalists. I think when you look at this run Morocco has now, of 2022 when they made the semis, this tournament when they look like a really exciting team, and 2030 when they're going to be a co-host with Portugal and Spain, by the end of it, they might have doubled that 3 quarter-finalist record for African teams, and maybe even gone a bit further, made even more noise as well. They're a really exciting and I think really interesting team to watch here at this tournament.
Ollie, let's keep with that African flair then, because tomorrow we will see Senegal, who maybe aren't a dark horse because that might give them a little bit more validity considering where they are right now, but maybe a sweetheart team for a lot of supporters. Quick, technical, aggressive, they can score goals. They'll be in action against France, who I assume, Ollie, will be feeling obviously motivated to have a Germany result as opposed to a Spanish result like we saw today.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get a Germany result because Senegal will be a real test of their credentials. And I think that will be, the focus, not to look past Senegal too much. But this French team obviously looks like it could be, I think it is, the most talented team at the tournament. But N'Golo Kante this morning in the press conference said it best. Sometimes their biggest opponent is themselves. And so can they avoid that fate again that has fallen on past French teams? The good news is Didier Deschamps, maybe more than any Frenchman in the history of their football in their country, has been able to prevent those kinds of collapses. It was after he retired following the Euro 2000 win as a player that they had the 2002 World Cup where they lost to Senegal and crashed out in the group stage. So he's here for one final World Cup. I think there's just a couple of challenges for him here. Firstly, can he really knit together what is in some ways quite a new group of players? There's quite a lot of leaders that have gone out of this team. Griezmann, Giroud, Lloris, Varane, since the last World Cup and even since the Euros. Some of the big talent that they've got on this squad, Elise, Cherki, Doué, players like that are playing at their first tournament, don't actually have a ton of caps. So has he had enough time with this team? Or is it going to be more of kind of a Germany 2010, 2012 team that's mega talented but just not quite ready? And then secondly, with the fact that he is departing and everyone expects Zinedine Zidane will replace him, if there's any kind of adversity, any kind of conflict in a very difficult group for France, does that at all dent his authority and his ability to kind of manage things? I think those things will be interesting to watch. But to be honest, if those are your biggest problems, most managers would love to be in your position.
Oliver Platt joins us live from Toronto Stadium, which on Wednesday will play host to Ghana and Panama. I do believe, though, that is not the match that Oliver Platt will be most interested in on Wednesday. And yes, my friend, this is your opportunity to drop an F Croatia if you like. Alan John heard me.
I will refrain from doing that, I think. Look, it's a strange one for England. I've never felt like, not myself personally, I think the country, less kind of hype going into an England World Cup opener. I don't know if it's because a lot of the games are on in the middle of the night back home, or whether it's because they've had to wait so long for their first game, obviously the last round of the first set of games here. But there just doesn't seem to be that much buzz around England. This is a big one against Croatia. It's also a big one for Toronto, because on July 2nd in the round of 32, I think the biggest game that's ever been held in this stadium, certainly from an international point of view, will be the runner-up of Group K against the runner-up of this group, Group L. And we'll see on Wednesday whether Ghana or Panama can kind of shake up this group and really be a contender. But you'd expect right now England and Croatia in either order to be number 1 and number 2, and this game between them probably to determine, which one is which. So if you're a fan in Toronto and looking forward to seeing who out of this group, and then Portugal and Colombia's group as well, comes to Toronto Stadium in early July to play their first knockout game, this is potentially the biggest game of the group stage in that regard.
Well, despite dangling the carrot, we unfortunately will not see a topless Oliver Platt on a Croatian newspaper tomorrow. One of these days, I'll get you to take the bait. Oliver Platt live on location from Toronto Stadium, powered by General Mills. Thanks, Ollie. Time for another break. Bet365 for the win. We'll be back, and we have plenty to talk about before we say goodbye as we continue to look forward to Tuesday at the World Cup. Stick with us.
For the Win on One Soccer is brought to you by General Mills. For the Win on One Soccer is brought to you by Turkey Farmers of Canada.
Canada are really pressing here. Oh, what a move. That is a quality ball. Now the run into the box.
Hey neighbor, meet Walmart Plus, the new membership that does delivery differently. I'm talking unlimited free same-day delivery, free shipping, and no order minimum. And it comes with a Crave subscription too. Yeah, it's like a 2-for-1. Try it free for 30 days. Walmart Plus.
Hey Vinny, is that your lucky song? That's too bad, because it's Tajon's too. And don't trust those lucky boots. They're not gonna score on their own. In soccer, the best don't run on rocket fuel. They run every single day. So believe in your sweat, and Gatorade will fuel it with a formula that rehydrates, replenishes, and refuels. Because when it matters most, trust what's inside. Is it in you?
We were there for your first game together. The day you taught him the rules. And the answer for every question. We've been there for the good times and a few moments we don't talk about. And now?
Who won the most Canadian Classics?
It's a passion you can share. And we're just happy we could be there. 20 years, and we're still growing. Together.
For the Win on One Soccer is brought to you by Samsung.
Tuesday at the World Cup, France, Senegal, Iraq, Norway in Group I. Group J's Argentina and Algeria, Austria and Jordan from Kansas City and San Francisco Bay Area, respectively. And our friends at TELUS are proud to partner with soccer organizations across Canada, helping to raise the game from grassroots to elite levels. Wheels, you'd like to discuss William Saliba of France.
Yeah, France's attack, it's sensational. It's been highly publicized, but William Saliba is their best defensive player. He's a center back. Look at that, 50 appearances, Amy, 50 on the club season for Arsenal. That's ridiculous. The problem is, however, he's come into camp with a little bit of a back injury. There was some talk that he might miss the tournament entirely, but he's been training in the build-up to this one, and he looks good to go. In fact, he's only played in 4 of France's last 12 games in only 45 minutes against Northern Ireland. He's a key player. Like I said, the best defender. We'll see how healthy he is tomorrow.
Amy Walsh.
Yeah, for me, there's nobody else but Erling Haaland. This is a tough group, so they've got to hit the ground running here. But, I mean, there's a debate about who the best footballer in the world is at the moment. Wheels, you could throw out a few words or names. I could throw out a few, but there's no debate about who the best finisher is, and that is Haaland. He's prolific. He is ruthless. And there's a simplicity about the way that he plays. He stays up front. He's a big body. He can bully you. He wants to get the ball on that left foot. He comes alive in the penalty area. We're talking about Jonathan David needing to get there. This is where Erling Haaland lives, and he finishes ruthlessly. So I can't wait to see him play. And in a tough group, they might not be able to, or they might not need to get out of the group for him to win a Golden Boot.
Speaking of ruthless, Gareth, your parlay of the day for tomorrow.
Here we go, Jenko. I'm taking over for you. You were close but no cigar over the course of the weekend. By the way, Harry Kane would like a word with you, Amy Walsh. Let's go with Senegal. Plus a full goal on the spread, the handicap against France. Remember, Senegal beat France in that memorable match in 2002 out of nowhere. France hasn't had a clean sheet in 5. I think this one's going to be close. So let's go with Senegal, a full goal on the handicap. Let's go Algeria, 2-goal spread on the handicap as well at -150. They're taking on Argentina. This side is very talented. Remember, Argentina lost their first game of the last World Cup. And interestingly, Argentina played like a bunch of nobodies heading into the World Cup. Iceland, Honduras, Zambia, and Mauritania. And before that, Angola, Puerto Rico, and Venezuela. Who's coming up with these like World Cup like fixtures in the build-up to it for Argentina? I guess when you're champions, it doesn't matter. Algeria under Vladimir Pekovic, a very good manager. Their first World Cup appearance in 2014 and some legit talent there. 2 goals. It's disrespectful from where I sit. And a clean sheet for Austria against Jordan. Jordan's missing their top goal scorer, Yazen El Naimat. He scored 8 goals in qualifying. They play really attacking football, but Ralf Rangnick's Austria side love to dominate possession the ball. They've won their last 5 games. They played to the under 2.5 in 5 of their last 6. Put all these 3 together, a nice little number at +701.
Thank you very much, Mr. Whaler. And I will have you know that I'm 2 for 3 today from yesterday's parlay. I just need a New Zealand draw no bet over Iran, and that's a winner. Speaking of winners, Amy Walsh, tomorrow, France, Senegal. The French, of course, are favored. Who do you expect to come out on top in this one? And is there maybe a surprise in a Senegalese draw or win?
Oh, I mean, I'd like to pick Senegal, Sadio Mane, one of my favorites. Speed of attack might cause some issues for France, who have disgusting speed themselves, but listening to Ollie talk about it, my thoughts as well. It's tough to pick anyone other than France. Heavy favorites to win the tournament. I think you got to go France here.
Yeah, they're the best squad in this tournament, but they lost to Ivory Coast 2-1 in the build-up to this tournament. And there's been some dissension or some maybe little red flags that have been raised amongst French fans. I think that the consensus elsewhere is this is the team to beat, but it's funny, like a loss like that, what it could mean. Also, they've ended up not picking up a clean sheet in their last 5 games. They've been leaky defensively, which is a little bit of a concern as well. In Senegal, like you mentioned Sadio Mane, Amy, I mean, he didn't play in the last World Cup. He was out through injury. He's going to be raring to go. The memories of 2002 loom large. And this is a Senegal team. Like, I don't care what anyone says. They won AFCON. And it's very difficult to go through a tournament like that, very difficult competition, and come out on top. So they're a little bit battle tested, good mix between experience and some young talent coming through as well. I think this is going to be a close game. What we're seeing over the course of this tournament, Adam, early in this tournament, games have been tight, a lot of draws and a lot of unders. So France, if they do pull this out, I think it's still going to be a close game, just in the balance of the way that it'll play out.
Okay, quick picks to take us home. Let's start with Iraq and Norway, perhaps inspired, Gareth, by the Stanley Cup champion Carolina Hurricanes. Erling Haaland's in action and heavily favored the Norwegians.
Yeah, I think Iraq doesn't pick up a point in this group. Senegal, Norway, France, it's like really tough sledding for Iraq. So it's hard not to side with Norway in this one.
Amy Walsh?
Yeah. Tough to disagree there. I think, Iraq have nothing to lose. They played 21 qualifiers. So you could argue maybe if you were really reaching that they're the most prepared of all the teams. But yeah, my money's on Norway.
21 qualifiers
in the finals. To the next match, the Argentines, of course, coming in to defend their World Cup title, -250 to Algeria's +700, Amy.
Yeah, here, you know what? I'm going to go Algeria. I was going to go draw because I think as holders, Argentina, I look to them to maybe struggle a little bit. We know that they lost. I mean, Saudi Arabia almost did it to Uruguay today, right? Like that's what they did to Argentina last time they were in Qatar, and Argentina went on to lift that World Cup. But I think Algeria's squad boasts tons of technical ability, and AFCON highlighted just how good they can be when they're at their best, and I expect them to be at their best versus the champs.
Last quick word, Gareth.
I agree. Look, Lionel Messi isn't Argentina's best player right now. Let's just put it that way, which I think could be a good thing in this tournament, but a tough opening match against Algeria. This one's going to be close.
Lines brought to you by bet365. Just like this very program, as always, they are subject to change. For Amy Walsh and Gareth Wheeler, I've been Adam Jenkins. We thank you for joining us once again tonight. We will continue to keep the closest of eyes on Alphonso Davies and the Canadian men's national team in Vancouver, gearing up for their next Group B match against Qatar. And with that, I say, come on, Aotearoa, New Zealand, take it home after this.